Hey, the Vanguard videos are finally back. I really do apologize for that. There's honestly no real reason that I've been putting off these Vanguard videos for so long, other than that I've just been busy and working on other stuff. But we're back, and I'm trying out a new format for this video, so we'll see how this works. Basically, I haven't seen any of the new arc yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record myself talking a little bit about each episode as I catch up. So tonight I'm just going to binge watch through the 11 or so episodes that I've had so far. And I'm going to watch an episode, record a little bit, watch an episode, record a little bit. So it'll be like mini episode reviews all kind of squeezed together into one video. Although now that I say that, it's probably going to take multiple videos to actually get through this because I've already got a lot to say about the first episode. Oh boy. So first of all, it's like late July. It's the 22nd of July. And I haven't seen this arc yet. So that's a great sign off the bat. But you know, I'm going to go into this new arc, give it the benefit of the doubt, and already it's failing massively. So first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room that I don't think I've seen anyone else mention. This arc is super confusingly marketed. I know you probably don't come here to talk, like to hear me talk about marketing talks and stuff. You want me to talk about how cool Aichi is when he does things. When he gets given things to do, we'll talk about that bit in a sec. So this arc is currently being uploaded to YouTube as usual, but as CardFight Vanguard, Dimension 1, Dimension 2, Dimension 3, etc. This is really confusing because the previous arc was uploaded as CardFight Vanguard, Image 1, Image 2, Image 3, etc. And the very first arc was uploaded as CardFight Vanguard Turn 1, Turn 2, Turn 3. None of these three arcs actually have any visual distinction as to what arc they are. And it's fine for the original because you can kind of assume that, oh, that's the first one. But with the reboot, it kind of became a little bit difficult because they didn't have any official like subheading or whatever, or actual like, you know, they didn't put V series in the title. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of a bit confusing to new audiences who don't know what the difference between the original and the reboot are. Now it's even more confusing because this brand new arc, which is a sequel, a direct sequel to the reboot, just says CardFight Vanguard Dimension 1, and that's it. There's no other like aspect to the title or thumbnail that would differentiate this to anything else for a new viewer. Now, sure, someone like me who already knows about a bunch about CardFight Vanguard could look at the thumbnail and go, oh, okay, that's probably the new arc, because the image in the thumbnail kind of gives it away, but not to someone who doesn't know anything about CardFight Vanguard. They're probably just gonna search CardFight Vanguard episode 1. This will be the first thing that comes up because it's new, and people have been watching it a lot recently, and that's how the YouTube algorithm works. And they'll click it and they'll be instantly confused. Except actually they won't be instantly confused because that's the biggest problem I have with this first episode. Nothing happens. There's nothing to confuse them. They spend this entire arc basically very not subtly recapping the events of the previous arcs. My notes literally just have, and I think I've used this joke before, but it's true. My notes literally just say show don't tell in massive letters because they don't show anything and they tell us everything. The amount of times the characters mention Corin and their memories being wiped and Corin not being there anymore is ridiculous. So basically the main plot of this episode is that the CardFight Club is being disbanded because they're one member short because they need at least 5 members. But the thing is they don't have 5 members anymore because Corin left the CardFight Club and erased everyone's memories, etc. And this entire episode is nothing but the characters telling us that repeatedly. Oh, I wonder who Corin is. She's weird. Oh, it's weird that we don't have a member in our club. And I get it, they're trying to recreate the first episode of Legion Mate, but in Legion Mate it served a purpose. And with Legion Mate, it was Aichi going missing, which was even cooler. And like we had like Kai, like they did all that to set up a really cool premise. But here they've just got to the point where it's like, oh, I guess we'll card fight the student council to see if our club can get made anyway. Because near the beginning of the episode, the council are like, well, you don't have enough members, so we're gonna throw your club in the bin. And then we have 10 or so minutes probably more of just the characters moping around going, Karen's weird, I wonder what the deal with her is, I wonder who the person in our club used to be, etc., etc., because, God, it's painfully obvious. I know they're going for dramatic irony, but they're really going very ham-fisted with it. And then near the end of the episode, Misaki finally realizes, wait, no, there's a loophole here. You already accepted our paper, so you should let us in anyway. And the student council are like, okay, fine, if you can find someone to join your club, then we will let you. Fuck it. And then Eru Nakagami pops in and is like, card fight me, please. And that's it. I don't care. I went into this new arc with, like, decent expectations. I was like, they're not doing the manga anymore. Maybe this could be something fun. And already I don't care, because they've spent, the first episode is supposed to be what sells you on an arc, right? It's supposed to feel new and fresh and like we're setting up a new story and everything. And they've just spent an entire episode going, we need a new member for our CardFight club. Like, it feels like a filler episode, you know? That's what this feels like, and I know it technically is a filler episode because, well, they've gone past the manga at this point. But, like, that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a new arc or like a new storyline or whatever. It just feels like, oh, boring filler episode. Like, sure, like, right, this feels like the beginning of a filler arc that would end with them, like one of those filler arcs that would end where the arc began because it's a filler arc and no one gives a shit. And then the actual manga can come back in and the story can happen. Like I've seen countless like Bleach and Naruto arcs and stuff that basically have this exact same sort of setup and like pacing to them. The only other interesting, like, you should keep watching the arc thing that happens is Kai being deleted by Koji Ibuki, and that's it. And yeah, so that's the first episode. We'll keep doing this until I'm caught up. So, on to episode 2. I really am doing these all in a row, by the way, with no breaks. It was literally like 25 or so minutes ago that I recorded the previous bit. I just watched the episode, and now I'm now recording again. This was a pretty good episode. There isn't much to say about it. And in the grand scheme of things, is this one of the best Vanguard episodes I've ever seen? Not really. Not even on the top 10. Hell, probably not even on the top 100, if I'm honest. But it was good. It has problems. But I truly believe that the V series is at its best, or VD series, I don't know. Does anyone call it that? I don't know. But I truly do believe this reboot is at its best when it's just letting us watch a card fight. Yeah. Truly groundbreaking, isn't it? But this episode was a training session between Aichi and the student council people. I didn't memorize or write down their names because I don't even know if they were mentioned their names at any point during that episode. But yeah, Aichi was just teaching them how to play. Why was he teaching them how to play? Because he's naive, and that's just who Aichi is. And I like they didn't hit us too hard over the head with it. They did have a line where Naoki basically did say he's teaching him because he's naive, and that's just how she is. And that's one of my biggest problems with this reboot, because the first episode of the Dimensions arc featured nothing but it, and it's still a problem here. That's that they just keep telling us with very on-the-nose dialogue exactly what's happening. But there was some nice character interaction stuff here. The student council slowly starting to kind of get into the card game was neat. And starting to kind of get excited and interrupting each other and stuff. That was fun, but other than that, it was a card fight. And whilst this was a good episode, it definitely kind of brings up one of my problems with this arc is it's not going anywhere. Like I said, the previous episode made it feel like it was gonna, it made it feel like it was a filler arc, and well, yeah. And I'm not gonna knock it for having a tutorial card fight. Every arc more or less every arc begins with a tutorial card fight, and that's a tradition I like them keeping. But nothing about the rest of the episode really felt too substantial, and it really makes it feel like they're gonna stretch out the student council portion of this arc as thin as possible, which really does make it feel like a filler arc. Because I assumed this episode was going to be the actual card fight against the student council, but all we got was a training one where they taught them how to play. Now I assume we're gonna get a couple of episodes of the actual card fight between the student council. So this next episode is really gonna have to exceed my expectations here, because, like I said, I like seeing card fights. but I kind of want to have some character and plot behind them. I want everything to keep advancing as we get card fights, which was my biggest problem with the first original CardFight Vanguard arc, because it didn't really do that enough. Or at least, you know, if you want to go the slice of life direction with this, because that is sorely needed with this, you need some actual fun character interactions, and I don't think we are quite getting enough of those. So yeah, that's episode 2. I will meet you back when I've done episode 3. So I immediately take back some of the criticisms I said about episode 2 now that I've seen episode 3, because I feel like I was a little harsh in saying that it was directionless and felt a bit fillery, because I do feel like the first episode was. But now that I've seen episode 3, I think I know where they're going with this, and I kind of like it. This was a pretty good episode. In fact, a pretty damn great episode. Yeah, that's weird to say. So it wasn't revolutionary or anything. This is, again, like it's nothing massive. It's not like mind-blowingly good, but it's like really solid. It genuinely is. We're definitely going back to that fun sort of slice of life tone, and I think that's the most important part, right? Because the past few episodes have felt increasingly bland, and I feel like episode 2 would have been a lot better if it had a lot more personality to it. And especially episode 1, I feel like that's a consistent theme running throughout the reboot, is just that it feels a bit too somber and depressing and just like personalityless and sterile. This episode, for the first time in a very long time, felt fun. You know, it felt like a group of people playing CardFight Vanguard that you'd actually want to hang out with and, you know, play CardFight Vanguard with. It was really neat. So this episode was mainly just 2 card fights happening, so we didn't get anything really in the way of like plot, but that's fine, because actually, again, I like where they're going with this ongoing slice of life stuff, and I'm interested to see where they go with this. I mean, obviously they're gonna win, and then they're gonna do the tournament arc, then they're gonna do a flashback arc with Shin as a teenager. I heard about that, by the way. If you're wondering, did he hear about the Shin flashback arc? Yeah, I heard about that. I'm finding it difficult to wrap my mind around it, but I heard about it. This episode, like I said, was actually pretty good. So the first half of the episode was Naoki versus Maki, and it was great. It was great. It was a fun card fight, nothing too amazing. It was a fairly simple fight, but I really liked this ongoing kind of character arc, I guess, where they were slowly realizing throughout the course of the fight that Maki is actually a massive CardFight Vanguard fan, and she'd been hiding that, and she'd been kind of embarrassed to kind of let them know, and so she was kind of coming off as like a newbie like the rest of the student council, and she actually got into CardFight Vanguard because of Naoki, and that's why she volunteered to fight against him. And Naoki's reaction to that, he says something along the lines of, "Oh, think about all the friends I haven't met yet," in response to finding out that she had liked CardFight Vanguard this entire time, and him kind of being excited at the idea that maybe there's even more people that are into CardFight Vanguard that he hasn't met yet. And that's really great, because it's such a simple line, but it infers a lot, and it really spreads this kind of positive message, which actually kind of reminds me of something that wouldn't feel too out of place in the original Link Joker arc. So that's really neat. And they've kind of, for the most part, gotten rid of this whole really on-the-nose dialogue thing. It feels like this episode had a different writer. I'm not certain if it does, because fuck doing research. But that's what it felt like. And the second card fight wasn't as good. It was Eru versus Shingo. It wasn't quite as good, but I still like what they did with it. In the first episode, they went out of their way to say that Shingo has lost against Eru before. They don't show the card fight, but they do say that that Shingo's lost against him. And, well, it's a 3v3 card fight. And usually with that, and you know what Vanguard does with that is they have the hero side wins, and then they lose, and then in the third and final match, they win, because that's the most effective way of racking up tension and being like, oh, are they gonna win? Are they gonna not? Because they lost the previous fights, but they're gonna win the final one and win overall. And again, Shingo has lost against Eru before, And then Shingo wins, but then they reveal that it wasn't actually a best of three this entire time, and instead they had to win all three fights. I think that's kind of an ass pull the way they revealed it, but I still like that they were going for a twist there because, subverting expectations, making you not know what you're gonna see. Like, will Shingo win? Will he lose? Oh, it turns out he's gonna win for once. That's neat, and I like that. So yeah, that was really fun. I really like that card fight, and the little section where Misaki points out him ripping off tropes and stuff from other anime with the very clear Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's reference of him having a marking on his arm and everything. That stuff was very silly. And I don't think it was as funny as they wanted it to be. But again, it injected this kind of fun atmosphere to the episode that a lot of the previous ones were very sorely missing. And I get it, in the previous couple of episodes, could you really expect them to act all happy and fun when Korin's missing? Well, they don't know that Korin's missing. So sure, yes, we can have them acting fun and silly. We don't need them acting all somber and serious all the time. This is a card game anime. And I just really like this episode actually, hammered that down. Finally, for one of the very first times in the reboot, conveyed that, hey, this is a card game. This is our hobby. We play this for fun. Because we have had episodes like that in the past within the reboot, but they're very few and very far between. And everything between that is, my dad beat me up when I was a kid, and I have magic eyes, and we shock each other for fun because they're weak. And I'm gonna delete everyone's passion for Vanguard, and just so on and so forth. It's very senselessly dark and overbearing. And so to have a fun little, hey, we're playing for fun is a breath of fresh air. And if the rest of this has really got my hopes up for the next few episodes, actually, which I'm sure I'll be massively disappointed by. That was just episode 4 that I just watched, I think. I just finished watching the episode and I can't remember what number it was. It was 4. Okay, that was an alright episode. I really liked episode 3, but this one was a step back in my opinion. This one was very janky. I was kind of hoping this one would be as strong as episode 3, but not really. So we basically have a card fight against Misaki and the student council president, and because he's a beginner at card fighting, he decides to enlist Aichi as an advisor to kind of even the odds. This is dumb, because you have Aichi telling him what to do, and I get what they're going for, but why would Aichi help? Well, it's because he's naive, I guess, and I guess everyone just trusts that he's naive enough to be unbiased when it comes to giving advice. Yeah, I don't buy that. Even Aichi isn't that stupid. Well, apparently he is, because he does give the student council president really good advice, because my very first thought was give him shitty advice. But it doesn't matter, Aichi gives him legitimately good advice, the student council doesn't listen, and that's how he loses. He loses because he did the opposite of what Aichi did. It was alright, the card fight was alright. The episode itself and everything surrounding the card fight wasn't too great, because we also had this extended Death Note reference that they dragged on for too long, and I remember them referencing anime tropes and stuff in the previous episode and going, oh, that's kind of silly and fun. It's not that funny, but it adds to the levity of the tone, so I like it for that reason. And then here they were just we're gonna keep mentioning Death Note. I do one thing I really like about the Death Note joke was they would keep playing this song in the soundtrack that sounds almost identical to one of the songs from the Death Note soundtrack, so I liked that attention to detail. But other than that, the Death Note joke was just really silly and pointless, and if there's anything you know about me, it's you need more than just a reference, guys. If you're gonna have a reference to Death Note, make a joke about it. And there wasn't really any further joke. They tied it into how Misaki's weird and maybe should be weird enough to own a Death Note, and that gets her annoyed. And she's like, oh, I'm not weird and creepy enough to own a Death Note. And yeah, it was really silly, but not very funny. I didn't laugh at it. And they did keep bringing it up. It really stretched for a while. But I did like how this episode ended for the most part. I liked how it ended with basically everyone to come to the conclusion that, hey, Aichi's naivety did wear off on the student council enough so that they are willing to not only approve the CardFight Club, but also join the club. So that was nice. And then immediately afterwards, they went back to episode 1 again. The very last scene of the episode felt exactly like something from the first episode of them just going, why is there a gap in our photo? Why did they approve the group in the first place? It's almost as if there was a person in our group that was in our group but now isn't in our group. And it's getting old, guys. We know. This better pay off to something. Because, I mean, obviously it's going to pay off to Aichi running into Korin again at some point. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that, but sure, why not? Like, we get it. We're not stupid. You can word your script with a little more nuance than that, rather than just having every character outright go, this is what I'm feeling. Like, it reminds me of that Futurama clip where the devil's like, you can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me mad. And that's what the writing is like in this series. I don't know why, it's just taken a nosedive. Maybe there's a reason they adapted the manga, huh? Because they obviously can't write themselves. Again, though, I do need to stress, this was still a fun episode. This was still one of the better ones. It just has it's still not doing a good job of correcting a lot of the annoying problems that would be fairly easily fixable. It's just silly. And to add to that as well, there's a bit where, like, Misaki uses her photogenic memory, and Eru is like, oh, she predicted a thing. That means she's psychic. Like me. I'm a psychic, and she has abilities that are similar to psychic people. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I kind of knew that. You didn't need to tell us that. It's just stuff like that. It's just really... like, when they do these things on their own, it's not too bad. But when, like, they have multiple episodes that feel like nothing but these little annoying moments, it's just really annoying. And I think what makes it even more annoying is, again, the rest of the episode was good. It was a fine episode. It was fun. But yep, so we're on to the next episode. I guess I'll give a couple little predictions, because now we're finally done with the student council arc. I will say, I'm glad that the student council stuff did add a little bit of breathing room, because like I said, the first 50 or so episodes of the V series went far too fast for the most part. There was very little actual breathing room. It just had to be things happening upon things happening upon things happening. And so I do like that there was some genuine breathing room. I imagine we're going to go straight into the Koshien tournament now, because, I mean, why wouldn't we? But I guess we'll see. I've seen some posts and stuff flying around about CardFight Vanguard G stuff starting to be integrated soon, and if so, that's interesting. We'll see what they do with that. So that's going to be where I leave it for today with the episode thoughts and stuff, because 4 episodes feels like enough for one video. We've been going for quite a while now, so next episode, next video even, which will hopefully be coming out in a couple of days, because like I said, I'm recording all these in one go. The next one will hopefully come out within the next few days, where I talk about the next 4 or so episodes, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, we'll see. And we'll just kind of keep going like that until we're caught up. So yeah, join me next time where I talk about Vanguard even more.